Greetings, fellow film fans. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Mercy, and this is the Funny Pajamas YouTube channel. Now, my most anticipated MCU series, that is TV show, launched recently, the Loki series, and I thought we'd have a quick spoiler-heavy discussion. So, warning straight out here. This is going to contain some pretty big spoilers. So, if you haven't watched the latest episode, it's the first pilot episode, do save this video for later. Go check it out. Come back here and have some fun discussions. And listen, while you're here, why don't you smash that like and subscribe button? Become a subscriber to my channel if you haven't done so already. And don't forget to hit the bell icon so that you're notified every time I post something new. Now, for those of you who know me, know that my most anticipated shows among all the MCU series was Loki. Now, does it deliver? I've got to say, hell yeah. I got exactly what I wanted from the Loki series. I got a whole lot of quips and, some dashing lines and Loki with all his bravado. And I loved how they've set it up. How they've set up the world building, the TVA. Okay, let's start straight from the beginning. This episode, the very first episode titled Glorious Purpose, picks up straight after the first Avengers movie, where the Avengers are escorting Loki off to be taken to Asgard. Now, like we saw in Endgame, Loki manages to grab the Tesseract and escape from it. These people in their uniforms coming in. And there's this really nice scene where they use their weapons against him and they use it to slow down time when they hit him. And that scene is pretty hilarious. You gotta watch it. So anyway, they take Loki into custody and take him to the TVA. TVA being the Time Variant Authority. And they take the Tesseract along with them. So Loki is now taken to the TVA and they make him do a whole lot of bureaucratic paperwork and stuff like that. The TVA reminded me a lot of a typical government office, a bureaucratic office where people are like just go through the daily day-to-day motions. But I got to say the aesthetics of the TVA, I liked it. It had a lot of 70s aesthetics. They had the really retro looking screens and stuff merged with modern technology. Like the first thing he encounters is a robot which seems to have a smiley face on it, and it scans him and takes off all his clothes, and then he's dumped straight down, and then he needs to pass through this detector and stuff like that, and then he needs to sign everything that he has said and stuff like that. So, and most of the people who are sitting behind these desks and doing this, like when they check in the Tesseract, they give it up to keep it as evidence. They are just, okay, fill in the paperwork and all. It's like they don't even want to be here, but they need to get their job done. Typical government, a typical government office system, bureaucratic system. So Loki is taken into trial. Meanwhile, Agent Mobius, that is Owen Wilson, is currently in the 15th century in France, and somebody seems to be killing off all their soldiers whom they call the Minutemen. So he arrives at the scene, and there are the bodies of all the soldiers, the Minutemen, lying around, and he notices there's one witness. So a little girl I believe. I'm not so sure. Don't quote me on that, but I think it was a little girl, and he questions her, asks her who did this. Same person, and he asks her who did this, and she points to a stained glass window, and there's an image of what looks like the devil sort of thing with the horns, and I was like, oh my god, was it Mephisto? Ooh. But then all of a sudden I thought, okay, wait, hold on a second, get a grip, Mercy. Those horn things could possibly be Loki's bendy horns. So that set the seed for a doubt I've been having, which was clarified towards the end of the show, end of the episode. So by then, Agent Mobius, that is Owen Wilson, is busy asking questions. Then he gets the report that Loki variant so-and-so has been apprehended. Meanwhile, Loki is being interrogated in a courtroom setting sort of thing. And just before he goes into the courtroom, he's given a brief initiation sort of thing. And I thought the way they did it was very well. They had this really old screen with an old 80s, 70s cartoonish style, clock called Miss Minutes. And she kind of gives us, what she does is basically an exposition dump, but it's all done to the form of a cartoon sort of thing. And I thought that was pretty good. Kind of brings me back to Mr. DNA, the explanation that they had in the first Jurassic Park movie. So it was an interesting way in which they gave the exposition without having one person stand and just belting out a whole lot of it. This made it interesting, fun, and easier to understand. And then we learn what the TVA is and how it has been set up by the three timekeepers, and how the world was at chaos with multiple, multiverses warring against each other. Then these three beings, the timekeepers, they come and they bring about and they establish one sacred timeline, and then they've established the TVA to make sure that no one deviates from the secret timeline. So they basically give you a good gist of what it is, what the TVA is, what their job is, how it is. And at this point, I believe they're laying the future groundwork for where everything is going. Even Kevin Feige said the Loki series is going to set up basically everything that's going to happen further on in phase 4. So I have a feeling they're setting this up, and they've given us the meatwork, the basic groundwork. They're laying it all out for further moving ahead at Spider-Man No Way Home, and then which will branch out further in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. So it gives us a template and idea of, they set down the rules, that govern the systems that govern that particular timeline, the timelines, the universe, the MCU as such. For them, the importance is to keep the sacred intact and without any variant branches. So this explanation itself did a very good job in settling in our mind what it is we're dealing with. So Loki is at his trial hearing, and Owen Wilson's Agent Mobius comes in and says, listen, I know what I can do with this guy. You hand him over to me, I'll take care of it. So then we get Loki and Mobius in a room, and Loki is being forced to watch these sequences in his life, and Mobius is prodding. And for something in the MCU, this episode of this series was much more philosophical than I thought it would have been. I thought they'd get straight down this, that and all. But this was heavy on the philosophy. It made you think, okay, there are these timekeepers. They decide what the sacred timeline is. Are they taking away free will? What about destiny? Doesn't anyone's choice really matter? And this is brought out so well in the discussion between Loki and Mobius. And Loki is like, he's got contradicting things here. Like, I want to set people free, but the only way to free them is to bring them under me. But at the same time, I don't like the timekeepers because the timekeepers dictate what others should do. Whereas at the same time, he wants to be the one dictating what the humans should do as their king. So Mobius tries to get into, Loki's head and figure out his psyche, to figure out how he thinks, and, to make him realize what it is. So to do that, he shows him clips from the Thor the Dark World and Ragnarok, and then later his, going on ahead. And then he sort of tells Loki, we sort of come to understand that Loki, though the hero of this series, is actually the villain of his own series, because Mobius shows how because of Loki's false instructions, it led to the death of his mother, Frigga. So Loki is like, this is what's going to happen, this is what's in store for me in future. I don't believe it. And during a brief interaction where Agent Mobius starts to leave the room, Loki escapes. He escapes, goes back to where he came in first, where he handed the Tesseract, and asks the clerk who was in charge where the Tesseract is. The clerk just kind of opens his junk drawer and takes out the Tesseract and gives it to him. And when he does that, Loki sees all the Infinity Stones here. And the clerk's like, yeah, we get a lot of these, but they don't have any power here. And that's when it hits Loki. Okay, when you think of Infinity Stones, you think of power. The most powerful beings can't handle more than 2 or 3 Infinity Stones at the same time. But here they are being used as paperweights. So, I wanted power. I wanted to be the top of the thing. But it looks like the people in the TVA, the timekeepers, they seem to be higher than that. That is true power. And I have a feeling that's how his thinking goes, and I think he started scheming and thinking of the different ideas of what he'll do, plotting and planning. Now, on the way back, he returns back to the same room where he was with Mobius. And he plays the reel further. And we see scenes from Ragnarok where he and his brother are standing side by side and Odin passes away. And then the final, the final straw is when he sees Thanos snapping his neck right in front of his eyes. And it's like he's been through all this, gone through so much to get to that point so that he could be king, and he dies at the hand of Thanos without ever achieving his dream. So he has like a moment there where he realizes all the work he put into to get the Chitauri and everything. He never ever becomes a king. He never reaches his goal and destiny. And that's a pretty tough pill to swallow. And you can see it in his facial expressions. And then he begins to understand that what these TVA people are doing, And then when Mobius comes in, Loki's broken. He's trying to process everything. And at that time, he comes to realize that I really don't want to hurt people. I don't do it because I enjoy hurting people. I do it for the sake of illusion so that I don't look weak, so that I have some semblance of control. When I hurt others, I have a semblance of control. That's basically why bully is bully, right? So he gives that up. So this episode was way deeper than I thought it would. Got down to the chunk of the matter straight away. And then Mobius is like, see, I need your help. There's something you can do to help me. And Loki's like, I know, you're not going to put me back in my original timeline again, right? And then Mobius is like, right, we are chasing a very deadly variant. Variant is the term they use for those who tend to step outside the limits of the sacred timeline. So we are chasing a dangerous a variant, and we need your help. And that variant is you. So I think what they're setting up is a Loki versus Loki situation, where this phase 1 Loki. Remember, this is just minutes after he has, escaped from the Avengers, right? And he's still in the phase 1 part. Phase 2, phase 3, the things that happen in those phases have not happened to him yet. So just a few minutes ago, he was standing ready to become a king, and now he's here. So Loki realizes he has to change his plan. You can see all those gears turning in his head. So he's like, okay, maybe I can help, that sort of thing. And then they sort of end it with that. They end it with a scene where there's a man in a shadow, and there are these, the Minutemen are coming out of the portal to check out to see that there's some interference, a branching has happened, an Nexus event has happened. So they come out, and then they realize they smell oil, and then there's a hooded figure that drops a lamp that sets all of them ablaze and ending up killing them. And they have this device which resets the timeline, which they have to set off when they reach there. He steals that and goes. So I'm guessing this hooded figure is the Loki that is running rampant and killing all the Minutemen. Now, I can do a lot of speculation here, mostly being that it's going to end up Loki versus Loki. But on the whole, I thought it was a very solid first pilot episode. Actually, I thought it was better than the other show's pilot episode. I thought WandaVision kind of took its time getting into its place, giving us an idea what this show is about. Bucky and Falcon and Winter Soldier, the first one also, they did not really get straight down to it. They gave us different views, like what Bucky is doing, what he's feeling, how Sam is feeling, how there's a new Captain America. I liked how perfectly well written this one episode was, so that everything was given to us. We know what it is. We know that the sense of stakes is high, and we know exactly what we're getting into. And at the same time, it gives us a bit of mystery. It answers a few questions, but gives us things that hook us on. So it makes us all the more excited and waiting for the next episode. Also, might I say, the dynamic between Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston is beautiful and spot on. They play off each other really well. Loki being the egotistical, narcissistic megalomaniac, while, Owen Wilson's like the chill guy. He's like, okay, yeah, he takes it easily, calmly, but gets to the point. So I thought these all definitely hold in favor for the Loki series. So, like I said, I thought this episode did a good job in laying a very firm groundwork, giving us a very good idea of what this show is and where it's heading. Also, there's a scene which, when Mobius plays the events in Loki's life out to him, where Loki pretended to be DB Cooper. Now, for those of you who don't know, DB Cooper was a guy who had some sort of a money heist up in a plane and then escaped using a parachute and was never found again. It is an unsolved mystery. So in this series, they show like Loki is DB Cooper. And okay, this is my one nitpick. Was that necessary for this series? I mean, it's a fun thing. It's really enjoyable. It's entertaining. But was it necessary to further the plot of the story? I'm not so sure. Also, the thing with time travel is it can get very messy, you know. If you haven't thought everything through, time travel can screw things up a lot. It could be logic inconsistencies, plot holes. So I'm interested to see how they go, how they handle this. I hope everything, you know, gets sorted out. One of my complaints for Endgame was that a lot of the things did not make sense, particularly when you introduce time travel. So like basically on general standards, time travel can be messy, particularly if you use it a lot. It is a convenient plot point, but it is it is a tricky thing to navigate. So on the whole, I enjoyed this episode. Not gonna lie, I was wondering, okay, they're bringing Loki back again in the MCU. Will the sense of stake be high? And I'm very happy with what I got. I enjoyed this. I loved Tom Hiddleston's performance. I loved his dynamic with Owen Wilson. I love the world building they gave us. And I'm sure they've sparked 101 internet debates on what is going to happen, theory, speculations and ideas like that. I can't wait to go ahead. I'm just a little sad that they're giving us only 6 episodes. But I am glad that each episode is around an hour. So I'll take what I get right now. So what did you think of it? Have you seen the latest episode? I know this video is coming out a bit late. I had to sit and marinate on it. I was like, whoa, what did I just see? You know, and I enjoyed it. I watched it multiple times after that. And I sort of had to marinate and think about it. So on the whole, a solid first episode. I thoroughly enjoyed it. For a moment I was scared. Am I putting too high expectations on the Loki series? But I'm glad that I kept my expectations. They have met my expectations. Now it's up to them to exceed my expectations. They've set quite a high bar. I hope that they reach it. What about you? Have you checked it out? What did you think? You think this is a good idea? You think the direction they're going? Let me know your conspiracy theories. Let me know all your speculations and thoughts and ideas where they are going to take this. I'd love to hear from you. While you're here, you can always contact me on Twitter simply at Mercy_D, on Instagram at Mercy_SD, or you can check out the Funny Pajamas Facebook page simply at Funny Pajamas. Pajamas with a Y. And you can always check me out on my website simply on www.funny-pajamas.com. Need I say it? Pajamas with a Y. And another way for you to get in touch with me, because I'm always wanting to hear from you, is by contacting me by email. Simply hit me up at mercy@funny-pajamas.com. The card should be up on the screen somewhere. So do check it out. Do contact with me. Hit me in the comment section down below. I know this is a little late video, but I knew I had to put my thoughts back up there. Can't wait for the next episode. I hope it's the same with you. For now, I'm going to, because that's all I have for you right now. This is Mercy signing out. Bye. Have a good one, everyone.